I had a whole Dunning-Kruger morning filled with signs and messages that we're not going to get into because this is Chef's Kiss Dunning-Kruger. Not talking about it. This blonde girl clearly grew up in a small town and thinks she can dance, right? I'm going to need you to see how absolutely flawed this person is. She posted this on TikTok. This is, by all means, dance as much as you want to, as badly as you want to. Dancing is about moving your body and enjoying. But she posted, and we're going to include the song because the song needs to be included. It's only 30 seconds. Hopefully, it doesn't get copyright stricken because songs are very, like on YouTube. Try this in a small town. Dunning-Kruger and a small town.
Let's look at this.
A grand example of a big fish who cannot dance. A small fish, big pond, right? Before she makes it hustle into the big city, before she goes away to university and realizes, oh, wait, just because my family's rich and I'm pretty, turns out everyone let me get away with everything I wanted to my whole life. Try that in literally anywhere but your small town. Any other small town, right? They'll tell you who and what you are. So now Dunning-Kruger specifically. I do feel I need to say that I found that one from Robin Rambles. Robin Rambles spelled differently, and her explaining how to be a human to that alien cosplayer, and it was brilliant. But I just then found the original because the original has been taken down, or a copy of the original from a tiny account. Now someone else explaining Dunning-Kruger. This is the best one. It's only 5 minutes long. I'm not playing the whole one, just the part where she goes over the graph. Because it also has a date in it at the very beginning. April 19th, 1995. Was a day somebody robbed a bank with lemon juice on their face? Dunning-Kruger.
Graphically, plotting one's confidence in your ability against one's actual knowledge in a field. As we learn something new, we are often highly confident because we know so little that as soon as we know a tiny bit, we think we know it all. Those who stop learning here maintain a false sense of mastery. Those who continue learning realize things are more complex and often lose motivation. And the more they increase their knowledge, the lower their confidence becomes. Many stop at this stage, thinking they've learned nothing. Only if we keep going can we regain confidence while getting better. And at the end, we will be full of knowledge and almost as confident in our ability as right after we started. In other words, if a simpleton, a good student, and a wise teacher were to have a public debate, this is how things could go down. The simpleton knows just a little bit, but is very confident and voices his opinions loud and without hesitations. The student knows more, but doesn't realize it because she lacks confidence. She keeps quiet. The teacher is confident, but understands how complex things really are. Hence voices his opinions with reservations. In the end, the simpleton wins the popular vote because he is so confident about being right, and people tend to trust certainty. Research from North America, Europe, and Japan suggests that culture plays a big role. From assessments of one's own ability to drive, we know that 93% of Americans think they are better drivers than average, while only 69% of Swedish think so. In Japan, on the other hand, people in general tend to underestimate their abilities as a strategy to see their underachievement as an opportunity to improve. Setting out
I'm so out of sync with the Japanese example that I cannot, like, it breaks my brain. Like, I'm like, wait, I don't know what life is like there, because I feel like I'm one of those people. I'm one of the people who underestimate myself, expecting that, like, then when you showcase people, you know, because the world, you're in with the world, and I have the wrong graph up here. This is the Dunning-Kruger one. I have two up, two ready that I got ready, and then found these were already there. They were already up, and then I was watching a Todd Grande video that somebody had sent, and then my birthday one about Dunning-Kruger came up. It's not that great of a video, but it was Todd Grande on Dunning-Kruger my birthday. And then another one about delusions specifically. Happened to be on one of the other Lucky Girls non-binary birthdays. And wow, these things just keep happening. But this is the issue. We're listening to Todd Grande talk about delusion, right? Am I in delusion? One of the grandiose. Well, I'm saying I know how to save the world. It's how much more grandiose can you get, right? However, this idea that evidence from experts would make you change your mind. Where are the experts? Where are the experts? Because in my world, there are no experts. Now, there are some people who live over in the high competence, high confidence realm. They are indistinguishable from the masses on all the people parked on Mount Stupid, both within the field, that is, they went to university, got a university degree, but cannot think for themselves. So they think they know everything. They do know a hell of a lot compared to your regular everyday person on that subject, but they have not even slid down into the valley of despair. They don't know how, honestly, to lose confidence, to be able to eke their way up this slope, to actually get expertise. And what we just said, where we voted in with the little audience in that video, right? The stupid person, the person who knew nothing, that is the world we live in. All of our CEOs, all of our government officials have gotten there by feigned confidence, by pretending they're competent when they are anything but competent. They might be competent in their narcissistic, sociopathic, trust me, I have confidence, but they are not experts in literally anything else, because they are indistinguishable in their field from the true experts. And if in a field that you're not an expert in, 1%, and that's being generous, are actually experts in the field, have actually made their way over there, how do you distinguish them from the 99% of people claiming expertise who are not? And then the whole other rest of the population who has zero expertise in that field and claims expertise. This is the world I live in. And now I'm just going to change to the other virtual background, because it's really important. So this is Dunning-Kruger, Mount Stupid. This is the normal graph. Any continuous trait, right, generally fits along a normal graph. These are standard deviations, the mean, the center. Now, because I'm an overestimator, learned that I wasn't judging myself against the population. I was judging myself against expertise. If I wasn't in this area, if I wasn't the top of the top, I might as well have been the bottom of the bottom. Whereas other people are literally the opposite. They're like, I found one person I'm more of an expertise than them. Therefore, I'm the biggest expert on the planet. Meanwhile, I'm like, I found one person who knows a little bit more than I do. Couldn't be an expert. Now, the whole point is, because I'm not comparing myself to everyone else, it was like I needed all the information to feel like I was an expert. I basically live at the bottom of that slope. Just live there. More information than I had brain damage and couldn't put in any more information, and had to rearrange the information I had, and figured out I was here, right? I was here. Meanwhile, they're telling me I need to believe experts who give faulty information. What's the area I think that, like, most of us go to experts and we expect them to be experts? Doctors, right? We literally go to expert doctors because they went to medical school, and they generally have a field they're even more expertise in, right? Neurosurgery, gynecology, oncology, whatever that is. Still they're parked on Mount Stupid. My experience with doctors, every single experience has had them parked on Mount Stupid, overestimating their expertise. Now, do I think that means I'm going to go to your regular everyday person and be like, you're basically a neurosurgeon, want to cut me open? No, but nor am I going to trust them on the intricacies of the complexity of politics and economics and medicine when they barely understand medicine. They don't even understand the complexity of their own field, and it contradicts all the other experts they send you to. They want to be gods in their godlike ego because we're just peons, right? We're just like peons with a Google degree. We couldn't possibly know what's wrong with our own bodies. Right, but I talked to the other god, the other doctor that you were refusing to talk to. Yeah. This is my degree. A degree in experts not being experts. Starting with being born into an evangelical church and being told these people are pristine and they'll tell you how to live your life, and then being anything but pristine. Science falling from grace because they couldn't tell me how I had brain tumors, and I had a scientific degree, and literally none of them understand the difference in expertise between being a doctor and being a patient, and that those are different expertise, and they never want to listen to the patient's expertise on their own body and on the medical system. And that all of our doctors who are experts in the medical field don't know what it's like to have a chronic illness, because if they do, they didn't make it through medical school, or they lost their medical degree, because you can't be a doctor and be disabled. And there's caveats, of course, but it's overwhelmingly able-bodied, even if they're neurodiverse, able-bodied neurodiverse could make it through medical school, could mask enough, right? So in the world, I know how to save the world, right? I think I know how to save the world. I understand other people aren't going to see that, right? But I'm an underestimator. So when I say it and no one trusts me because they're like all those other people who pretend they know how to save the world, like Elon Musk, and they're just breaking it because they're breaking it and they don't say they know how to save the world. You think they know, that you think that if somebody knows, it'll be somebody with money who we've already listened to the ideas of. No, their ideas are billionaire capitalist ideas, not disabled in poverty overestimation of our ideas, and we don't put ourselves out there until we know how to save the world, right? I'm not Elon Musk, and I don't want my picture and name out there. I'm only doing it because I know how to save the world. I'm only doing it for that reason. However, being in that position, knowing how to save the world and not being able to communicate it, is very isolating. And I'm a hyper independent person. Those two in combination, right, I already know how to save the world. I don't know how to like call the singular people in. And I'm owning that I don't know whatever the next piece is, and there's going to need to be someone who figures out that piece of it. That is how to get Jubilee with other people, right? That piece of it. Just needs to be one person, really. One person who doesn't need it to be Elon Musk. Who at least is curious enough that it could be me, that they could be the match to make me be the person who creates the better, beautiful world. I need that better match. I need the person who can understand, right, that I'm a tree planted at the center of my Venn. That does not mean I think I can photosynthesize. It does not mean I think my child is a sapling, right? No, I understand I'm a human being. Also, energetically, I'm supposed to, for the sake of the planet, myself, my family, everyone, plant at the center of a Venn that is the center of what I want to do, what I can do, and I'm aware need doing. Which means I'm not supposed to do a single thing I don't want to do or can't do, or I'm not aware is going to have a greater impact in the world. But there's still things that need to get done in my life, my kids' life, in the world. And those things currently just aren't getting done. No paperwork, no executive functioning. Let me tell you, the world's not a fan of that. What do you mean you can't fill out paperwork? Would you fill out paperwork? If it cost you $10,000 to fill out every single paper, would you fill it out? How much paperwork would we have in society if every time someone had to fill one out, every single page was $1,000, $10,000? You wouldn't be filling them out, or you'd be requiring them to pay you to do it, right? Yes, exactly. Exactly. I exist on the other end of this spectrum. It takes me a hell of a lot of energy to do anything I don't want to do. So I only do what I want to do because I'm a spoonie. Everybody has a certain amount of energy. Most people just never kind of come up against their envelope of energy constantly. I have, to the point where I've had to figure out the absolute maximized area for everything. In every area of life, I've had to figure out Pareto distribution. Meanwhile, people who have never had to, because they got through medical school, their mommy and daddy, they were like the blonde, pretty kid in school who just got everything handed to them. They're the doctors. What do you mean? I got into medical school. It wasn't that hard. Exactly. Exactly. And now you're dealing with people who I'm not going to trust you as an expert because you're not an expert. You haven't been through what you're a doctor in. You haven't probably even read any of the papers since coming out of university because you're too busy. It's required for you to be too busy. You definitely haven't, as a GP, read all the papers on all the conditions of all of your patients. You can't. Yet you can't even honor that you're not an expert in those things. That you can't necessarily know every condition who comes through the door. And if you have a, few hundred patients, you're going to have some that have a once in a lifetime condition, right? Therefore, you have to know all the once in a lifetime conditions. And you know none of them because you're like, well, I haven't encountered it. We just had this horrible, horrible incident on TikTok with this guy named Sleepy Paramedic. He's a paramedic. He told this horrible story where he went and picked up a deceased body of somebody with dwarfism, and he played the theme song from the Munchkins and Sound of Music, wrong one, Wizard of Oz, as they went away. As he's telling this story and trying to make it funny, and which that's bad enough. He's like, these people are mythical. Like they don't even ever come into ER. They don't ever. Not true at all. Like even a little bit. The difference is people with dwarfism are a tiny fraction of the population, so you may never encounter somebody in your practice or even in the ER. This is an EMT, somebody who goes to people's houses constantly, has probably encountered thousands of patients and hasn't happened to encounter one to deal with the delusion in his head. Meanwhile, all these doctors or all these EMTs, all these nurses are like, you just made a mistake. You're not listening. Everybody with dwarfism, everybody with a chronic illness isn't going to trust any medical professional because you all think, what, they're mythical creatures that don't get sick? Like, that is so freaking ridiculous. And this is the world we live in. This is the world of like, right, because you haven't encountered a patient who has dwarfism. I guarantee you he never learned that in medical school. They never sat down and said, people with dwarfism have extremely strong constitutions, never get sick, never come into the ER. Didn't happen. No actual research shows that. That's just his belief in his head that has been reinforced by not seeing someone in that setting, in the ER, right? This is on a grand scale. It wasn't a doctor, it was an EMT, but the doctors, same thing. The nurses, same thing. The bias, all there baked in. There are no experts. Our rulers are ruling from on top of Mount Stupid. This is literally where everybody is. So when you're telling me to believe experts, you're asking me to go to Mount Stupid and ask the monks on Mount Stupid, right? No. And until people can honor there are no experts in any field, you're not going to be able to reach me in what's going to look to you like delusion. And to me is just, you're all in mass psychosis. You think there's expertise? No. No, and I can't trust a single person who can't see this and still claims expertise in any field. Because even if you're an expert in your one field, they're all interconnected. So if you can't see that how are you going to distinguish who's an expert in chemistry if you don't know chemistry? How are you going to distinguish who's an expert in law? Let the other ones decide? Then you only get the gatekeepers, right? This is the world we currently live in, and the world where I'm creating a world that works for everyone in. That means some people we're going to need to not have rulers from on top of Mount Stupid, right? We come from all across. We're in the normal curve, the entire normal curve. It takes thousands of us to get the Pareto distribution, right? 1 million of us farming, we're going to get the top, what is the square root of 1 million? 1,000? 1,000 farmers doing 50% of that. It took 1 million farmers to get those 1,000. You can't just get those 1,000 farmers. That's not how it works. Yeah, it's like, well, they're the best. We're going to give them all the money. No, it took 1 million to produce the square root 1,000 who produced the 50%. The other, whatever the opposite square root is, right? 900,000, 909, whatever, 1,000 minus 1,000 million minus 1,000. that my brain can't seem to do right now. You needed all of those to get the 1,000. We, in capitalism, in our uber competitive world, are requiring people park themselves on Mount Stupid. And then we vote them in. And then we wonder why they make stupid policies. Because they're stupid. That's why. Anyone want to come and honor this? I'm not saying I'm the genius. I'm saying I'm like a little bit up here, and please stop voting in those people, right? Just that. But like, experts exist, sure. How do you distinguish them from the rest in a field you're not an expert in? When this exists in every single area, especially medicine, in my little world, because I've had to deal with medicine. Anyone? And want to help Jubilee create a world that works for everyone? Anytime now. Anytime.